Em viết tên anh Bình chưa?
Rồi anh, xong rồi, tiếp theo chị Hoa nhé.
Đúng rồi, thêm chị ấy vào. Thiệp này đẹp, in thôi em nhé.
Vâng anh ơi, đi in nào.
Xong rồi, em xem thử nhá.
Đẹp quá anh, mời anh chị.
What does it truly mean to prepare for forever? Is it just choosing a date, sending invitations, and planning a ceremony? Or is it quietly honoring every memory, every struggle, and every hand that helped you reach that moment? In this heartfelt story, Huyen and Dee officially set their wedding date, carefully choose a meaningful invitation design, and relive their journey while creating a guest list filled with gratitude. As they personally write and send each card, their simple actions reveal something deeper. Love is not built in grand gestures. The late afternoon sun spilled golden light across the small courtyard as Huyen and De stepped out of the local office, their hands tightly intertwined, a single sheet of paper held carefully between them. It was more than just ink on white paper. It was the official confirmation of their wedding date. For a brief moment, they simply stood there, letting the reality sink in. The world around them seemed to soften, as if time itself had slowed to honor this quiet, sacred milestone. De looked at Huyen with a tenderness that carried the weight of every memory they had built together, every misunderstanding they had patiently resolved, every challenge that had tested their faith and love, and every gentle reconciliation that had drawn them closer. Huyen's eyes shimmered with emotion, reflecting not only happiness, but also gratitude for the journey that had led them to this very day. That evening, their home felt warmer than usual. A soft breeze drifted in through the open window, lifting the sheer curtains as Huyen carefully spread several wedding card samples across the wooden table. The table had witnessed countless ordinary dinners and late-night conversations, but tonight it held something extraordinary, the beginning of their forever. Deb pulled his chair closer, studying each design with unexpected seriousness. There was a creamy ivory card embossed with delicate floral patterns, elegant and timeless. Beside it lay a pale blush design adorned with subtle watercolor roses, gentle and romantic. Huyen traced her fingers lightly over the textured paper, imagining how each card would feel in the hands of their loved ones. She wanted the invitation to reflect their love story, not extravagant or showy, but sincere, warm, and deeply meaningful. They talked about fonts, colors, and wording, sometimes teasing each other about their preferences. Dad preferred something simple and classic. Huyen leaned toward a softer, more poetic style. Yet even in their differences, there was harmony. After much consideration, they both paused at the same design, a minimalist ivory card featuring 2 interlocked rings in soft gold foil. It was understated, yet powerful in symbolism. 2 circles endlessly connected, just like them. Des smiled and said it felt right, like it didn't need to prove anything to anyone. Huyen nodded, her voice quiet but certain as she replied that love didn't need loud decoration, it needed truth. As they finalized their choice, Dad gently squeezed her hand. The room was filled with a peaceful certainty, the kind that comes only when 2 hearts are aligned. In that simple decision about wedding invitations, there was something profoundly beautiful. 2 people choosing not just paper and ink, but the first tangible expression of the life they were about to build together. Outside, the sky deepened into shades of amber and rose, as if nature itself was blessing their promise. In the days that followed, their home transformed into a quiet sanctuary of anticipation. The chosen wedding card design lay neatly stacked on the corner of the table, a gentle reminder that the countdown had truly begun. Yet before ink could touch paper, there was another task waiting, one that carried just as much meaning as the invitations themselves. Together, Huyen and Dee began drafting the guest list, and what seemed at first like a simple list of names soon unfolded into a tender walk through memory. They sat side by side, a notebook open between them. Dee held the pen, but Huyen's voice guided many of the names. "We can't forget Aunt Lon," she said softly, recalling how her aunt had once traveled hours just to comfort her after a difficult time. Dee smiled and added the name carefully, as if each letter deserved respect. Then came his childhood friend who had stood by him when he doubted his own path, the colleague who had quietly supported his early career, the neighbor who had brought warm soup on a rainy evening when Huyen was sick. With every name spoken aloud, a story surfaced, small, intimate moments of kindness, loyalty, and shared laughter. At times, they paused, not because they were unsure, but because they were overwhelmed with gratitude. Some names brought back memories of challenges they had survived together, misunderstandings that had nearly driven them apart, financial struggles that had tested their patience, long nights filled with uncertainty about the future. Yet, woven through each difficulty had been the presence of someone who encouraged them, who believed in their love even when they themselves felt fragile. Writing those names felt like acknowledging silent guardians of their relationship. Dee occasionally leaned back, staring at the ceiling as he tried to remember someone important from years past. Huyen would gently nudge his shoulder, laughing as she reminded him of forgotten promises or shared holidays. Their laughter filled the room again and again, dissolving any stress that might have accompanied the planning. This was not simply event organization, it was an act of honoring their journey. When disagreements arose about whether to keep the ceremony intimate or extend the circle wider, they didn't argue. Instead, they talked, calmly, honestly. Dee admitted that he wanted the room to feel full of warmth and familiarity. Huyen confessed she feared leaving someone out who had once shown them kindness. In the end, they found balance, just as they always had. Their list grew steadily, each name written with care, until the pages were nearly filled. As Dee placed the pen down, they both looked at the completed list in silence. It was more than ink on paper. It was a map of the love that had surrounded them all along. Huyen rested her head lightly against his shoulder, feeling a wave of emotion rise within her chest. "We didn't walk this road alone," she whispered. Dee tightened his arm around her, his voice steady but deeply moved. "And we won't walk the next one alone either." In that quiet moment, the guest list became something sacred, a testament not only to the people who would witness their vows, but to the community of hearts that had helped their love endure, grow, and ultimately flourish. When the guest list was finally complete, a gentle stillness settled over their home, as though the walls themselves were holding their breath in anticipation of the next step. The printed invitations arrived a few days later, carefully wrapped and tied with a soft ribbon. Huyen opened the package slowly, almost reverently, lifting the top card as if it were something fragile and sacred. The ivory surface felt smooth beneath her fingertips, the delicate gold rings catching the light just as they had imagined. Day stood close behind her, his chin resting lightly near her shoulder, both of them quietly absorbing the reality that their wedding was no longer a distant dream. It was unfolding, one deliberate action at a time. That evening, they decided not to rush. Instead of simply slipping the invitations into envelopes with mechanical efficiency, they created a moment out of it. They brewed a pot of warm tea, turned on soft music in the background, and cleared the table once more. Huyen insisted that they write a short personal note inside each card, even if it was just a single heartfelt sentence. "I want them to feel that this comes from us," she said gently. Day smiled, moved by her thoughtfulness, and picked up his pen. Side by side, they began writing. Huyen's handwriting flowed gracefully across the paper, each word shaped with care. Day's letters were slightly uneven at times, and occasionally he would pause, frown, and cross out a word that didn't look right. Huyen would laugh softly and tease him, then lean over to help him rewrite it neatly. Their shoulders brushed as they worked, and in those small touches, there was an unspoken promise. Steady, comforting, enduring. For close family members, they wrote longer notes, expressing gratitude and love. For old friends, they added a shared memory or a line that only that person would understand. With every envelope sealed, it felt as though they were sending a piece of their hearts out into the world. The stack of finished invitations grew steadily, forming a small tower of hope and anticipation on the corner of the table. When the last envelope was finally closed, Huyen let out a slow breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Day reached for her hand, intertwining his fingers with hers as they both looked at what they had accomplished together. There was no grand celebration in that moment, just quiet fulfillment. Later that night, they walked side by side to mail the invitations. The air was cool and calm, the sky stretching above them in deep shades of blue and silver. As they slipped the envelopes into the mailbox, one by one, Huyen felt a flutter in her chest, a mixture of excitement and tenderness. Each letter carried an announcement, but also a declaration that they had chosen each other, fully and without hesitation. Day gently squeezed her hand once more. "From now on," he said softly, "every step forward, we take it together.